Evening and welcome to a Thursday night edition of the Buddy Martin Show. And we've got some things planned for you special tonight. So we're scrambling around here the last second. Some people had to cancel. We hope to be able to get Freddie Weeby with us. But tonight, there's a basketball game I can't get out of my head. Watching this game right up to the show last night with Scott Carter, and what I saw, I don't think I've ever seen from Florida basketball team to never lead a game, but for the final 50 seconds or whatever it is. They didn't lead the game at all, but one time all night long, and when they did, they won it. A game totally improbable that they would pull out, and they did. And in the end, I know Fran Spear's going to join us in just a second here. I want to get his take on this because I think these are the kind of games that in the long run will get you where you want to go. It was, in its own way, one of the greatest wins Florida has ever had. And if we get to that point later on, we'll look back at that night in Columbia, South Carolina on a Wednesday when Florida got crap beat out of them the entire game, and through brilliant defense and some determination, they weathered the storm and pulled the game out and won it somehow. I do not know yet how. We're going to find out, though, because Fran Spears is standing by in the orange and blue room, and we will be able to give up with him in just a second. Freddie Weeby is going to try to join us later. He got a sort of a manifesto he wrote about what it takes at the end of the year. We're looking back to be a winner. It means Ben Stroop will be here tonight. He'll join us. And Coach Lauren Meadows. It's going to be a good show. But first, let's do this. Let's open the program and go see our buddy France Beard. And he wrote a really brilliant piece this morning, by the way, if you haven't read it on Gator Bait, about what happened. It was so hard to keep up. So much happened so fast that most of us, normal people, couldn't follow the warp speed. But he did it beautifully, and he wrote about it beautifully. So we'll get his take on it. How in the world did Florida pull out a 1-point victory in Columbia, South Carolina last night, and the game that was lost? Stay tuned. Coming up next right here on the Buddy Martin Show.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Evening, welcome to the program. Go right to the orange and blue room and talk to the man of the hour, the guy who has seen literally thousands of basketball games. I dare say, though, Franz Beard, I don't think you've seen many like the one you saw last night.
I've seen a few of them, but I can't count many of them. Maybe 10 or 15 times in my life I've seen a game like that. And but that's good with 50-something years of covering college basketball, buddy. So it's a rarity that you have a game like that. It's a rarity, really, that you have a chance to even win a game like that, much less walk out of there in a game when your front court scores 9 points total. I mean, Condon got 5, Tommy Houck got 2, Ruben Chignello got 2, Sam Alexis, none. They had 9 points, 19 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 block shots, and 3 steals. That was the entire output. And this comes after a game in which their front court just totally dominated everything and against Texas. And then to come back in a game like this, when your front court gets nothing and you got to rely totally on your perimeter guys. And I got to give Todd Golden a lot of credit. He turned on the full court press at the right time. One of the things you see a lot of in college basketball is when a team gets too far behind is they start pressing too early, and maybe they make a run, but then there you look in the last 2 or 3 minutes and they're gassed. They have nothing left in the tank. He turned on the full court press at just the right time.
He did.
And they were not gassed. In fact, the team that was gassed there at the end was South Carolina. Florida had energy to spare going in there. Will Richard, what a brilliant ball game. I mean, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, block shot.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I want to get your thoughts on this right here. So much I want to get into to break down on this. But this is a game that Florida literally stole. 22 points off 15 South Carolina turnovers. Florida finished the game with 13 steals.
Yeah.
Talk about the decision to do that little press at the end, how they just completely flummoxed South Carolina. And that's how they won the game, that great defense.
Well, and the steals don't tell you the part about how many deflections they got, how many times they had a hand up that knocks the ball away. Sometimes, buddy, when you press, you're doing just as good a job when you make the other team go almost 10 seconds to get across midcourt. And then all of a sudden they're still scrambling. And maybe by the time they get into start running their offense, they've only got 15 seconds of a 30-second shot clock left. And that oftentimes is as good as a steal, because you end up with a team taking a bad shot, committing an offensive foul, doing something really stupid, and you get into their heads that way. Florida did it all last night. Deflections, block shots. First half, the interior defense was horrendous in the first half, I got to tell you. But in the second half, the defense picked up on the interior. South Carolina they had some 3-point shots.
Oh my gosh, they pulled them out of there. You know what? I mean, the shots they threw up there, unbelievable. Like they couldn't miss, you know.
The bank shot that put them up 68-63. I'll be, I'm the eternal optimist, as you know, but even that when that shot went in, I'm thinking to myself,
good night.
This is not going to happen.
Yeah.
But look at what happens with this. They come up with that, and who comes back? Walter Clayton comes back down. Mm-hmm. Just absolutely, talk about a guy that has the perfect shooter's mentality. Yeah. The last shot that he took has been flushed. The next shot he takes, in his mind, will be the best shot he's going to have all day. And that's what great shooters do. Mm-hmm. He's a scorer. He's a streaky shooter. I would not call him a shooter, even though he has games when he just goes into a shooter's coma and can't miss. But great shooters, I've seen a lot of great shooters in my life. Like we had a guy that I covered at North Carolina State named David Thompson, who was.
I remember him a little bit. He played for the Denver Nuggets.
He was reasonably good. They had a guy on that team too who coached there in Gainesville at Oak Hall for years. But he was Norm Sloan's assistant coach, Monty Tao, 5'5". They listed him 5'7", and he may have been with lifts in his shoes, and most people wear shoes. Lifts are optional. I saw Monty Tao one night up at Virginia, hit 8 in a row, and I'd say the closest one was about 25 or 26 feet. but it was the first one he's about to take. Norm is up there, and you know Norm. Norm could be colorful. Let's just say, and Norm's up there. Monty, you better make that.
Salty language, so we say.
What a great shot! And he kept doing this. he finally, the North Carolina State's going to win the game, and Monty comes down with the ball, and he goes, and where they had the press row, we were right behind the North Carolina State bench there at the old U-Haul at Virginia, the University Hall. They called it U-Haul. And Norm says, if you take this shot, whether you make it or not, you're coming out of the game. Monty just pulls up right where he is, 35 feet, drains it, and just comes running to the bench. It was one of the funny moments I've ever seen. Florida had Lee Humphrey. Lee Humphrey was a shooter.
Pure shooter, really.
Just an absolute brilliant shooter. Yeah. Walter is not a shooter. He shoots well. He is a scorer because, like last night, when they're taking the three-point shot away from him, he starts taking it to the rack. He scored first half. He scores all of them going on layups, driving to the rack. And Will Richard the same way. He's a guy that he's a scorer, not a shooter. But last night he shot.
Yeah.
You know?
Let me give you this number. That's the flip side of this. Georgia, Ole Miss, and South Carolina, all last night, big games, right? Led for a combined total of 119 minutes and 14 seconds out of 120 of games the combined. They went 0-3.
Florida led for 4.8 seconds.
Yeah.
Exactly. And of course, watching the end of the Arkansas game, my gosh, they get a guy, goes to the line, 1.8 seconds to go. He makes the first shot, misses the second, crashes the board and lays it in at the buzzer. Brilliant stuff. I mean, this was but you're right. They were talking about this on the SEC Now, and Patrick Young was talking. He said, I have never seen anything like this. And the SEC Network people were saying, we've never had, in all the years we've had the SEC Network, we've never had 3 games like that.
They're amazing. Hey, friends, we're going to bring in our buddy Ben Troop in just a second here. And I want to shift over to football a little bit because there's a lot going on there. Florida's starting to pop up in a lot of these way too earlys. They're, they're listed today on a top 10 poll, and things appear to be getting better. I want to talk about that. People are calling Florida a dangerous team all of a sudden. I want to talk about that. And I want to break down a little bit more if we have time later, if you're still here, on what they did defensively to steal the ball so much. Unbelievable. So let's do this. Let's go and get our buddy Ben Troop, and I'll tell you folks about our sponsors, not the least of which is our good friend Meldon Law. So good evening to Benny Troop. What's up, Benny?
What's up, friends? What's up, buddy? And listen, I will take the win. I don't care about no first half. They woke up and they won the game. I don't care about the first half. That's why the second half of basketball is equivalent to the fourth quarter of football. Don't worry about the first 3 quarters. Don't worry about the first half. We got the dub.
I hear you. And I'm going to tell you, first of all, about this dub, and that is our friends at Meldon Law. You all know who they are. They've been a big supporter of this program and University of Florida. They also are in the law of your business. If you have a suit out there, and I'm one of them right now, you want a second opinion on how's it going, they can put you in touch with people who can handle your case for you. And they, of course, are devout Florida football fans, constantly giving things away over on their Facebook page. If you need to get those hard-to-get tickets for gymnastics or basketball, whatever, you have a pretty good chance of winning. So go to Meldon Law's Facebook page and check them out. Meldon Law, they won't back down. Well, Ben, I know we're talking basketball. I want to switch over for a second. I'm beginning to see a trend here among Florida being a fashionable pick by people off the site. They want to jump in there and say, well, this team, Florida, like I just DJ Lagway, they could be a dangerous team. Here's this one I read today. Florida will be a dangerous team in 2025. They returned 17 starters off an 8-5 team. That'd be 2 ranked teams. And they list the notable returnees, DJ Lagway, Eugene Wilson, Jada Ball, Jake Slaughter, Tyreek Sapp, George Gums, Caleb Banks, Aaron Gates, Bryce Thornton. I could go on with Pup Howard and what have you, Jaden Robinson. So it looks like there's a little bit of I don't know if you want to call it a ripple, but see, you're not going to say, wait a minute, wait, let's see who else we can pick. Oh, there's this Florida team, Billy Napier. Are you sensing that, Ben and France?
Well, yeah. I mean, we all know how hype works, right? Hype works this way. The first thing you got to have is momentum. Well, they had that last, the last 2 games of the season. The third, I mean, I'm not gonna count Florida State, but you go LSU, you go Ole Miss, and then you go to the bowl game and beat Tulane. That's a lot of momentum. Then this DJ Lagway kid is as good as advertised. Started 5 games, won 5 games. You went 8-5. Then you bring back your running backs coach. That's a good plus. Then you was able to go out there and get some big time players in this 2025 class. Some of them are already on campus. But it all starts and finishes with the quarterback. Because every team that's picked to do anything in 2025 is going to have a good quarterback. I didn't say great, but they at least got to have a good one. This DJ Lagway kid, I mean, number one, he wants to be in Florida. Number two, you don't hear about him saying anything about leaving. He's pretty freaking good if you can protect him. And there's a team in Athens that understands. We don't know what would have happened, but it would have been. But if it's 2020 with the third string quarterback with 6 minutes left in the game, so to me, I get it. Everybody, look, I don't know how I feel about Florida hype for this reason. I always know it's fake. Unless it's coming from a friend's beard or like a Buddy Martin, only because these are the same people that are quick to jump on Florida's, they don't jump on them bandwagon. It's like they want Florida to do bad because it helps them sell, it helps them get clicks, helps them sell magazines, whatever. But hype is only hype when you can't live up to it. They went 8-5 with the hardest schedule in the country. They went 8-5. So you can say whatever you want. Texas went to the college football playoff. Georgia went to the college football playoff, right? You're talking about a Tennessee team that's an overtime away from losing to Florida. You talk about a Texas A&M team that played Texas to go to the SEC championship game, and a Miami team that was good enough to go to the ACC championship game. That's your 5 losses. I don't call them quality losses, but they weren't the worst losses in the world, even though Miami, Texas, and Texas A&M was a little ugly. I just think that when you talk about Florida, yes, they got the head coach got it right. This freshman quarterback, I'm looking to see how good he can be. Does Arizona State have a transfer receiver? I just need to know that, because if they do, we won't. I'm just saying, if they do, he need to come on down to games. But it's not hype. I don't think it's hype, buddy. I think, number one, not to compare the two, but if Florida went undefeated one year and went 2-10 the next year, could you? Buddy, we wouldn't even be on the air. We don't want to hear it. That kind of. So for what Florida did last year, it was impressive because it didn't lack adversity. It didn't lack doubt. The hardest people to talk off the ledge root for the orange and blue. I am not talking about people outside of Florida. I'm talking about within Florida. Some of the biggest naysayers gonna come. Your biggest critics gonna come from your family members or the people that root for you. So. For right now, we have won the offseason with guys coming in. I don't know who, in the portal. I don't know how that, that shaped up to be, pretty, okay. When you talk about how they was able to, and like I said, when you start talking about, the balls of the world, because as great as DJ Lagway was, ball was good, man. That kid, we got us one. And if your number one receiver missed most of the year and you still go 8-5, most teams ain't doing that. Is Ohio State without Jeremiah Smith? No. I'm not saying Eugene was that, but I love it when people got to eat crow. They hate it. Oh my God, they hate the fact that Florida ended because they thought same old Billy, right? He ain't gonna win no games. Because Miami was ugly. It was ugly. I ain't nobody trying to get Texas A&M was ugly. They just both happened to be at home. But then, like I said, they caught fire. The fact that you kept 2 teams out. Because LSU thought, if we just beat these Florida boys, nope. Kentucky thought, hey man, we beat them last 3 years.
Ole Miss thought they were going to be in.
Oh yeah, it's a guy. It's a guy that was at Florida with me. His name is Thaddeus, not Thaddeus Butler, but he went to Florida when I was there. He's on the Ole Miss staff. He gonna tell me, being DJ Lagway kind of messed up my he messed up my bonus this year because you guys beat us. I said no. What would y'all? I said, what would y'all know about going to Atlanta? He was like, oh, this was supposed to be the year. Says who? Yeah. What would Ole Miss know about going to Atlanta? So that's what I like. Yeah. If you ain't going, whose season can you spoil? You spoil.
Here's the thing, Ben, that I love is the fact you got a quarterback, but there is not a team in the Southeastern Conference with a more experienced offensive line than the Florida Gators. You got 4 starters coming back. You got Bryce Lovett, who started games there at the end. You got Cameron Waits, who started games up and down. And Devin Manuel, who was hurt all year, and who they had basically penciled in last spring as a starter. He's 6'9" and 330 pounds. You got him coming back, and they love Caden Jones, and they love Fletcher Westphal. Najee Harris started all 13 games there, and by gosh, tell me something. Is there a better center in the Southeastern Conference?
I'm not sure
in the country.
I don't know if the country even
than Jake Slaughter, and he's as good a center as I've seen on a college football field in 6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
he is an absolute stud, and what makes him so good is he's super smart. He is super smart. And as you know, Ben, you got a center that can sit there and take one look at the other team and can get everybody in the right place at the right time, doing the right assignment. You are 2 steps ahead of everybody else there.
Now, guys, we also have a number from Vegas. I know we're going to do this a lot of times this year. We're going to walk through the schedule and say which ones are going to be the W's and whatever. But that number is really surprisingly low, if you ask me. 6.5 is the over-under on wins losses. You start breaking it down, I'm thinking that ought to be easily achieved because we all think they're going to win 8 or 9 games. So let's talk about that for a second. Freddie Weeby is going to join us. Freddie Weeby did a real sort of a manifesto talking about what he sees a team has to do to be in a national championship position. And he wrote it out, and we're going to talk about it. But first, to address the issues of the wins and the number they put up there, France.
Well, they said last year 4.5, and we won 8, so it's a plus 3.5. I'll take 6.5 plus a 3.5 half also. That'd be 10. I'd take that. I think 9 is realistic next year in the regular season, and I think that's a good figure. That's not overly optimistic. That's a really good figure. And that means you got 3 games. Out of those 3 games, you got to steal 1 to get into the playoff. So, can they do that? Yeah, I think so. I mean, you get Dollywood USA's coming down here. We get Kentucky, and they're going to be horrendous next year. You start out Ole Miss, total rebuild next year. Lane's really good at rebuilding, but by gosh, you're going to do that. I'm not convinced that Brian Kelly he's a carpetbagger from up north, as far as I'm concerned. He is never going to win it all at LSU. It's funny. They make the national championship game at Notre Dame after he leaves, and he goes to LSU with the greatest quarterback on the planet and can't win, and loses 7 ball games in 2 years.
Yeah,
Florida will win 9.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's funny, right? The 2024 season has to be the blueprint moving forward because they had the hardest schedule in the country, and that wasn't debatable. That was not debatable, and they won 8 games. Now, you give it what a difference a year makes. You talk about a DJ Lagway who's coming in, understanding I'm the guy. right? You talk about a team that's coming in with a bunch of confidence. You talk about a coach that's been through about as much adversity as you can get. And this is the same Ole Miss team that went from 9 wins, 10 wins, 11 wins. This is the year. Nope, shut down. You talk about a Brian Kelly who, outside of his accent, ain't much to talk about. Three of the 4 offensive rookies of the year, he had them all on the same team at LSU and didn't win an SEC championship or a national championship. You had the Heisman Trophy winner. You had 2 Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. didn't do anything with it. When you talk about this Texas A&M team, got to go up there. It's going to be a tough place to play, but I think we got a shot. We beat Mississippi State on the road. We should handle them at home. Florida State, nobody's really worried about them. Got to go to Miami. I know they got this dude named Carson Beck. I don't think anybody's afraid of Carson Beck. Sorry, Carson. People don't go from Georgia to Miami unless your name is Mark Ritt. That's it. You don't go there as a player. So I agree with Franz. It's not. If you
He's coming back from Tommy John surgery. I got to tell you what, I realize that it's not like throwing a baseball, but it's still throwing. And you got, last time I checked, nobody's out there trying to tackle you when you're pitching a baseball, unless you're the Savannah Bananas.
I love that team.
I do too, but Carson Beck, Ben, you're right. Goodness.
I'm listen, friends, and I think what's crazy though. What's crazy? Yes, we're biased. We got orange and blue glasses on. I get it, but I don't think we giving it enough credit for what Florida did in 2024. Like we're not giving it enough credit because we kept saying, buddy, Frank, when we said, if they go 75. Or 8-4. People said 9-3 was a ceiling. Like they ain't see, but dude, they went 8-5, right? And I get it. And they had some big wins. Like LSU was a big win. Ole Miss this year was a big win. Ole Miss beat Georgia, right? Texas A&M, okay, we didn't see them having that type of season. We didn't see. Obviously, Texas can recruit. Georgia's Georgia. Miami got Cam Ward, so Cam Ward might be the number 1 overall pick. Right. It's not like you lost to some slouches. And Tennessee was just one of those games to where we just panicked at the end and we could have won that one. I think this team, if they keep DJ Lagway healthy, they keep building momentum with this defense. Special teams become, yes, we're not going to have an offensive coordinator. We get it. We understand it. We need to just move on from it. It's not going to happen. Right. But at the same time, I just think this team has a lot of momentum because they've tasted it. Like a lot of guys can say, man, I wonder what it's like. Well, that's what it's like, man. Listen, Jackson Dart in that post game, and I'm never ever ragging on the player himself, but look at Jackson Dart when he threw that pick. Look at Brian Kelly talking all that trash. They got this song in the 4th quarter, and you want to learn that song so you can be singing it because we're gonna be up by 14. Oh, you were singing it. But you didn't want to be. And it's stuff like that. And like I said, I'm happy for Coach Napier for this reason. It's got to be rough going to SEC media days, having to see all these teams around you. This time last year, the team that they was talking about in 2023, Eli Drink was in Missouri. That's what they was talking about. Like, dude, look at what those dudes doing up there. I'm telling you, our quarterback is already in the Heisman Trophy conversation. I know South Carolina got a quarterback they think is better than DJ. We'll see what happens, by the end of the year. But if you can't build off of 2024, what was it for? If you can't, and like I said, to the people saying 6.5, those are people that's gotten used to how Florida has been. So that has a lot to do with the past and not the present. But hey, man, that's why we strap it up. That's why we get to go do it. And listen, if you are a UCF fan and you're looking at this, 2024 wasn't a fluke. Because if it was, remember that coach that came from Auburn that said the UCF is going to go from the Big 3 to the Big 4?
Yeah.
Where is he at now? Oh, that's right. Dang, he's in Tallahassee. So
let me jump in there real fast and say the France has to bug out. Freddie Weeby standing by. I'll give you 15 seconds to say, what have we learned from this season? What are the things real quick you think it's going to take to win in this year? And we're going to get Freddie's manifesto next. and then we'll go switch over to Freddie next. Ben, real fast. What did we learn from this season? What needs to be different, real quick?
Listen, what we learned from the 2024 season is, if the University of Florida get the right guy under center, which they did, if they get the guys around him to believe in him, get the defense to fly around, we got a shot to not only be good, but we got a shot to be great, even though it didn't happen this year. And what we learned is, if you haven't learned how to deal with criticism at the University of Florida, you at the wrong freaking place.
Yeah. Well, you also need to have money, and you need to have all the things, the infrastructure. And Franz, I give you that final thought. Now you got to go real quick. What Freddie's going to give us his manifesto about what we learned and what needs to happen. Real quick, Franz, for you.
What they've got to do is they've got to have a relatively injury-free season. They've got to.
What's required of University of Florida, though? What's required of the school? What's required to be successful?
In Florida,
that's college football, but Florida particularly.
Well, it's the same for everybody. You got to stay injury-free. Number one, particularly at quarterback. Number two, you got to have the right mix of guys you have developed who are ready to play with and plug and play just enough transfers. Can't go wholesale transfers. This was the thing I'm looking at LSU, and they're talking about 10, 12, 13 guys that are going to be starters who came in through the portal. They're not going to do anything.
Okay,
you got to be able to develop your own.
I'm looking for something a little more overarching. I'll let Freddie talk about that. You, Franz, I'll say goodnight to you. Ben, hang in there while I go over and get our buddy. Thanks, Franz, and get Freddie, and then we'll tell you about our sponsor, who, of course, is our good friends at Titan MRI, now Titan MRI Imaging. Want you to know that back, he would be Joe Correa. This Titan MRI team has acquired high-field MRI, strengthened Titan MRI's position in the medical imaging industry, enhanced its ability to deliver innovative, high-quality MRI solutions to healthcare providers and patients across North Central Florida. They're now going to have quite a few places to serve you. You know they already have two in Gainesville. They got one in Lake City. They're going to have one day in Marion County. The reason they're growing is because they're providing good health care, a way for you to come and get your get your CAT scans or your MRIs and get them done in a reasonable time and fashion. They now have insurance, take your insurance, so it's all good. Check them out before you get your next MRI. That's now, again, once again, it's the Titan MRI Imaging. Once again, same good people and a new look for the folks at Titan. Good evening to Freddie. How you doing, Freddie?
Great, buddy. How are you?
We're doing good. Nice to see you again. Last time I saw you,
nice to see you.
House full of people. There with Coach Spurrier and Coach Meyer. Congratulations on a successful deal there. How'd that go?
Well. Hello, Ben. How are you?
How you doing, Freddie? Man, always good to see you, sir. Listen, I'm gonna have to borrow your voice probably next month. So just be ready to switch, and I'll give it right back to you.
There you go. But the event went great. Actually, it went beyond great. A lot of people showed up. There's probably 400 people in line. Coach Spurrier and Coach Urban Meyer both signed autographs, took pictures of about a little bit over 100 folks. And if we had more time, we've probably done about 4 times that. But it's good. It's great to see Gator Nation come support both their coaches that have won for them. They've won all their championships. And really, when I audit who came and where they came from was really the most inspiring thing. We had people drive from Pensacola, Tampa, Orlando, Palm Beach County, Valdosta, Jacksonville to sign an autograph and take a picture. And all the money went to a charity. We raised over $5,000 for the 3 Heisman's charities, which is great. But truly, it was great to be a Gator. Gator Nation was at the restaurant. We've had a lot of former players stop by to say hello to their coach. Jeremy Foley was there, Stevie McLean, Brandon Spikes, a bunch of Gators, probably about 20. Shelly Meyer and Miss Jerry both bartended and promoted Urban's tequila, the Los Lendros tequila. They picked up the tab and all that, which was kind of cool as well. And it really got a little bit hot when Coach Spurrier and Coach Meyer kind of argued who has the better drink. Coach has his beer against Coach Urban's tequila, and you kind of know who won that one.
Yeah, well, it was. I tell you, it was a wonderful photographs out of there, and I was not able to attend, but I was fortunate to have them both on the show the day before, and that was a wonderful picture of the two of them sitting there with their beer and their tequila talking. And I thought, how cool to have these two guys who brought about all the championships side by side talking in a place like Spurrier's. It was a great memory and a great event, and I tell you, if you didn't get your chance to get yourself an autograph there, you missed out on greatness. I'm hoping you still got my autograph ball there I asked for, and I'm going to cherish that for sure. Freddie, let me get. Well, I got Ben here, the intelligent one. I was struck by your information that you put out this manifesto about. I'm not sure why you decided to do it. I'm glad you did, because we're all still kind of grappling as to what exactly happened. Like I wrote in my column, I feel like I woke up from a long winter's nap. It was like 2000. It was 6 years ago, 99, and we were about to go out of business. The Big Ten was ready to fold the tents, and Sankey stepped in and prevailed. They had the football season, saved it from oblivion, went on to now move forward. Now we got the new championship rules. The game is season's in. It's over, and now the Big Ten apparently owns the world, from what I'm hearing. So, Freddie, you wrote some stuff about that. I've got the list here somewhere, and I'll go through it. But what prompted you to put out that manifesto?
I don't know if I call it manifesto. It was really my points. I was watching the game, and I'm a data guy. I like numbers. I like data, and I'm looking while watching the game. Jeremiah Smith. What a great talent, star to be. We're seeing it happen as a freshman, and we had a shot at that guy. And I just wondered, I don't know any of this, but did we have not enough money to get him? Did Ohio State have more money to get him? They do. And they won a championship. And, they are one of the top schools with NIL money. So truly, does NIL really work? Whether we like it or not, it worked. The team with the most money won. And then you look at some of their talent, many of their seniors could be playing in the NFL. They chose to stay. And I'm watching this, and I'm watching them dominate and win the national championship. Then I look at us, we're great. We're Gator Nation. We've won 3 national championships. They just won their 9th. Why can't we win more? And you start wondering and talking about the why and seeing it happen live. And you're watching a football game on a Monday night, and I question again, why Monday night? Why are we putting the top game of the week on a Monday night? Why can't it be on a Saturday night? And that was one of the points, And then I also look at Michigan. Michigan beat Ohio State. The world didn't end. Ohio State bounced back and used it as an ammunition to come back and be a motivation tool to win. And to me, how many times we lose that one game and we give up, that was another point. And I believe another point was the mention of God. Every player interviewed, every quarterback, wide receiver, coach from both teams started with thanking God. And it's kind of cool to see that again. And sometimes we fall into the mantra of, well, that's not good, or that's not allowed, or this or that. And it's, as a fan, I like that. And many do. And it's great to see that and see how faith played a role in that team. You could see it from their coaches. There was a story that came out at the end. They knew if they win, it's because there is faith to win, and they're going to use the Michigan as a bounce back to continue, and they did, and celebrate, And the last one I think on that piece was, I recall for 4 weeks how Ohio State fans wanted to fire Coach Day, and he's gone, and he's fired, and Chip Kelly's going to be terminated. They lost to Michigan, and the world ended. And they lost to Oregon, and they need to go, and boo, boo, boo. And we dealt with the same thing. We Gator fans acted the same way. We went on social media and sports talks and expressed, everyone how Coach Napier needs to go, and he's not a winner. And then you look at the true Coach Napier and what he's building, and you see that, hey, we could win too. And kind of I was just expressing my point. You can call it manifesto, buddy, but truly a lot of similarities, a lot of good points there. And I just expressed them in a social media post. And I believe that's what
That's
we're
well
talking about.
said. I think the bigger picture for me, overarching theme was what I'm hearing from other people, Feinbaum, etc., is that they're fearing a disconnect of college football fans. And I use this politically, and I'll throw this out to you too, Ben, that when you are a political party or you're a particular fan base, whatever, and you don't listen to your constituents, as we know, one political party did not, and you wind up getting your butt handed to you. And a lot of people were worried that maybe people had stopped listening to fans. The fan base is being ignored. The prices go up. The players keep getting more money. And there's a lot of disenchantment there, particularly with the older fan out there. And I wonder, is this endemic? Is this something we're going to have to deal with in the future? Is this a danger and a threat? Ben, let me throw it to you first. You hear this. What's your response to that? Are we starting to hear a lot of that, and are we listening to it?
Yeah, you are hearing a lot of it, but I think the thing about it is the perception in the stands ain't the reality on the field. And if you think that the old way is going to win you games, it's not. I'm gonna keep on saying this. I remember when $1 million for a head coach was out of this world. $1 million was going to position coaches. And the thing about it is when you start talking about what college athletics is, if your football department if your football team ain't packing out stadiums, right, ain't winning games, the rest of the athletic department gonna suffer. And the whole thing about it is the product on the field. Sometimes, people gonna say, how much money is it gonna take? Well, Ole Miss just spent $20 million and they didn't make it that line. You know what they're gonna go back and say? We need more, right? If you don't, and I get it. It's easy. I'm a former student athlete, so it's easy for me to say these things, but nothing stays the same. Nothing does. Everything progresses. I think the thing about it is no one saw college football, college athletics advancing this much, this fast. It used to be maybe a 5-year turnover. It's 2-3 years now. And I think the fans, they get it, even if they don't understand, even if they don't like it. The way they say, I don't like it that it's this way. I get it. But what are you going to do? You're going to watch or you're not. Either you're going to support or you won't. But listen, Freddie's around it all the time. And Freddie's saying, look, man, as much as I don't got to understand it, but this is what it is. Like this is where it's going to continue to go. If you don't think that when you watch a Coach Spurrier and an Urban Meyer in Spurrier's doing that, other schools want that blueprint, but they don't have an Urban Meyer. They don't have a Steve Spurrier. They want to do it. So even former coaches, they saying, you see what Coach Spurrier and them? Don't think that it's just the current players. It's anything. And like I said, the better the team is, the easier it is to raise money. If the team ain't good, it's hard to raise. So if you think Ohio State got a bunch of money now, they just won it. They trying to double that because at the end of the day, money correlates with a lot of things in this world, not just sports. Anything, it's money wrapped around it. So I don't know why people are so fixated on college. That the University of Florida is the biggest brand in the state of Florida. That's taking nothing away from the team on the Panhandle, the team down south, or the team in Tampa, Jacksonville, and Miami. It's the biggest brand in the state. It's not in a major city. Look at what the University of Florida did for the city itself. When I was at Florida, there was nothing on the other side of 75 South. Now they got Spurriers, Dave and Buster. That's what the school has done for the city. And guess what? If the two greatest coaches in Florida Gator history are still right there in Gainesville, they still working with each other. That's what Florida does. So I get it. People not supposed to understand it, but let me tell you, all it's gonna take is this: just win a national championship, win another one. I get Michigan got 10, and Ohio State got 9, and Harvard got the most, and Alabama. Just win one, and because a lot of times people say, okay, if I'm spending my money, what am I getting for? What am I getting for it? What you got for it in 2024 is 8-5 with the hardest schedule in the country, and DJ Lagway and company. And we'll see what happens in 2025. But this is what college football is, and like I said, if you want to compete, you got to do two things. You got to have the money, and you got to have the players. And the only way you get the players is if you got the money. And because guess what? How you think you get coaches? You really, really think you get coaches without the money? Brian Kelly left Notre Dame because LSU gave him more money. That's why he went. Don't give me. He went because they gave
He
him
wanted to
money.
win a national championship.
What would Brian Kelly know about winning national championships,
Yeah,
man?
exactly.
I'm just saying, what are we talking about, man? Let's not.
This ain't Grand Valley State, huh, Ben?
Lauren, I want to get back real fast before we get to Lauren. And there's a lot that went into that conversation, Freddie. Now, you've seen that world. You helped do fundraising. You helped the Florida Victorious get off the ground. You're a businessman. You don't do anything without having data points on it. I know how you operate. You're a very smart businessman. And you know a lot. You tell me now, straight up, where is the financial picture of Florida? I saw a thing today. They had, as a matter of fact, a guy at the Wall Street Journal with a piece about how much are these teams worth in total and evaluation. And Florida was 14th. Whatever that means, I don't know. But you tell me, given that you know more about the financial firepower of Florida than all of us put together, where are they? Do they have the money? Is it going to be possible? Because it's going to take the money to get it done, Freddie. And are they going to be able to sustain it? And what's the latest on Florida Victorious?
Florida Victorious doing good, doing great actually. But more importantly, the notion of NIL, I think, is more clear today. And, we're, like Ben said, we're a top brand. There are 3.5 million fans in the state of Florida, 500,000 alumni. If each give $10, we become number one school in NIL money. It's that simple. But this is not about $1 million donations. And this is a collective fan base that needs to support their teams, and not just football. I get the football pays the bills and generates the income, but there's other sports that need money. I was at the women's basketball game this past weekend, and your guest was there as well. And I'm looking at a team LSU. We played them hard. We had the lead going into halfway through the first half, and then we fizzled because the other team has more money, bigger players, more on the bench that can compete with us. We just don't have enough. And if we don't generate money to help our teams, all our teams, and the fans don't support that and realize what NIL is, Ohio State was a good example of how NIL works. They had the money not to go generate new players, but to keep the talent they have. And they maintained it, and they won the national championships. The SEC is the king of all, correct? Well, they didn't win. They didn't win last year either. The Big Ten has won the last 2 years. And they're generating their money, and they have same fan base we do, and we, the number one brand in the state, should be able to raise that money. And that old mantra of, no, I don't believe in this, so I'm not going to help, or why should I donate? Those days are gone, and that's why Florida Victorious is important. And when this was house rules clear, same thing with the university. We need to give more money than what's going to be out there, because that's the name of the game. If you want to win, you're going to need money. It's that simple.
All right. Let's welcome Lauren in. Lauren, you heard all of that. How you doing? What's going on?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Earlier in the program, we talked about the fact that you requires a certain commitment. We've talked about this all season long. And Freddie's with us now. He already had to say, what's your view of where Florida is right now? And can they get there from here?
Well, I think they're improving. They were vastly behind a couple years ago. Really, really late to the party, and it's improving. I think you got people like Freddie Wiebe and others that have, really stepped in to get this thing going with Florida Victorious. There's been some restructuring, bringing on Bree Wade, I think is a big get for Florida Victorious as well, to really increase the footprint. But like Freddie said, you got 3 million people in the fan base. If everybody gives $10, you're in great shape, and I think Ole Miss is a great tale about that. I told you I spent time in Oxford after the Mississippi State game. And before you get on the internet in Vaught Hemingway Stadium, they ask you, do you want to give the NIL? You go out to eat in Oxford and your receipt says, do you want to give the NIL? I think because the money is not going to just come from one big donor. You have to be creative. You have to be persistent, and you have to be intentional about letting people understand that this is the new landscape. Does it mean that they're asking for $100, $150, but they are asking for 10. They are asking for 15. And for those of us that love sports, I don't think it's, I go to Smoothie King. A 32-ounce smoothie is $12 at Smoothie King. Now, I would definitely trade that monthly for Florida to be good, like Freddie said, in every sport. There are sports, like he mentioned at LSU, Sunday with LSU, that are top 5, and in these sports, they can roll with anybody. But it's the depth, and that's what you do. And it also allows you to keep the players that you have. You've got a lot of sports that have recruited really well, but their fear is that will they be able to keep those people for the 3 and 4 years that it actually takes to build a championship program. So, I mean, I think Freddie's spot on. Obviously, bringing Freddie on has been great for Florida Victorious. I'm sure they're listening to him and others. So I think they're headed in the right direction, but at one time they were vastly behind, which is almost embarrassing for a school like Florida. But I think they've started to kind of realize this thing is on the upswing, and I think you're starting to see that with the success of football as well as men's basketball. But now it's time to get everybody involved so we can be the everything school that everybody wants.
We have a new motto around here says, "Let Freddie do it." All right. Let Freddie do it. So now that we're going to sit down and look at this situation, we all know what's being bandied about. Freddie knows a little more than we do. We keep hearing Billy calling plays. Apparently, that ship has sailed. Billy's going to call the plays. But will there be another person involved? I'm not sure. I do know that Jaluk now is re-signed, and Billy Gonzalez is. And I think they've got I don't know what's going to happen on the defensive side of the ball, if they're going to leave the situation as it is, whatever. But there are some things that need to be fixed. People need to be signed. What needs to be done next, Freddie? What's the order of priority here in terms of, don't they have to come up with a defensive coordinator by name at some point?
I think everyone needs to relax and let Billy Napier and his team do what they need to do. They know what they're doing. I've been bullish from day one, and I believe the system will take time. And we're almost there. We just need to be a little bit patient. Let them do what they need to do. Let the leaders lead. Let the leaders build the team. Ben mentioned earlier, reality on the field is what matters, and that's true. If we believe a lot of the stuff we read and hear and all that, that's great. We're all emotional. We get into it sometimes. And like I mentioned earlier, Chip Kelly and Day got fired 25 million times in a 2-week period. We can't do that. Let them do their thing. Trust them. Let the system play. They're going to make the right decisions. We're paying these guys a lot of money to win championships. Get out of their way and let them do the thing.
You know what, though? Hey, Ben, it's inalienable right of the fan going to a baseball game to move the umpire. It kind of comes to the territory. They second-guess coaches, especially play callers. It's always been that way. It's part of the game. I think the difference is the mean streaks, the mean social media things. We're going to get away with it. It's okay to have fun and criticize whatever, but you got to put it in perspective. Ben, what has to happen with the defensive side of the ball? Who's a priority? What has to be done? And can Billy get this thing done in time to get it wrapped up?
I think the main thing they have to do with their defense, man, they got to continue to develop guys. I think when you look at the thing that's not talked about the most about this team was the team that was playing the best at the end of the year was the defense. They were playing the best football at the end of the year, and it's about retaining guys. And I think the thing is, no one wants to talk about this. Our best pass rusher went to Ole Miss, and we did not miss him. He went to Ole Miss, and you didn't. That doesn't happen. And I think the thing about it is we've gotten, and when I say we, I'm not talking about us. People have gotten so used to criticizing Billy, they don't know what to do when they ain't got nothing to criticize. They don't know what to do. Like, what do I say now? That's what this is about. We have gotten so used, to just, hey, man, here come Billy again. Billy went 8-5. What? He went 8-5. Who we lost? Then it's going to be who we lost to. I agree with Freddie. Sometimes we think that we can do better than the guy that's doing it. That is not true. And we are over here now. I haven't been a coach. I've only been a player. I know that Lauren got some experience in it. Maybe Freddie, maybe you, buddy. But I'm telling you, some of us need to watch the game from the sideline to really see it. Now, Lauren has seen it. What's happening out there? Sometimes what we seeing, man, from being in the stands or watching on TV, it looks like we do this. All he had to do is him. All he had to do is. Well, that's what everybody say, right? All Mark Andrews got to do is not drop it. Well, he stuck his hands up. He just dropped it, right? We don't like that part. We don't like it when we come up short, right? We don't like it when, and all I'm saying is just breathe a little bit. This is the first offseason. The Gator Nation can breathe, and we are hyperventilating. This is the first time and we don't. To me, it's almost like we have grown so accustomed to chaos, we don't know what to do with calm. We don't. That's what this is about. When the last time Coach Spurrier and Coach, listen, we got Coach Spurrier, we got Coach, you know what I'm saying, Mike, they arguing over who got the best alcoholic beverage. That's what I want. I want a world like that, because at the end of the day, we went 8-5. You know what they saying, buddy? You know what they saying, Freddie? You know what they saying, Lauren? Yeah, but 2025 coming. I'm telling you, the whispers used to come from outside. Now they're coming from inside. And that's cool. That I can live with it, but they'll be fine. Like I said, Coach Armstrong didn't leave because he didn't like Florida. He left because Florida is rough. It's rough to coach here, man. It is great. Ask Lane Kiffin why he left Tennessee. The first time he goes, dude, do football ever shut down in the SEC? Nope, not even in Vanderbilt. You don't even shut down there. So it's fine. I think what they got to do is keep building. Because remember when he think he can recruit in the portal? How'd that go? Right? Remember when we ain't going to get that DJ Lagway kid. Remember recruiting process last year? We going to lose him. Watch. What he did on National Sign today? He signed, didn't he? I'm just saying, just breathe a little bit. Because like I said, could you imagine if Carson Beck was coming to Florida? Ooh, we'll be going crazy right now. We got the guys in place. Give Coach Billy Napier that got so used to us. Billy Napier just told Mama Napier, listen, just go shop, put on a disguise when you go to Whole Foods so they know who you are. Don't respond to anybody. It's gonna be fine, man. Listen, it's gonna be fine. And I will say this though. One of my favorite rappers' name is Killer Mike. Right? His name is Killer Mike because he kills microphones. It ain't because he kills people. I
got all of his albums, by the way.
Well, he won 3 Grammys last year. He won album of the year. Georgia boy. He said something to me. This is what Florida Victoria is, or this is what NIL is. We have 3.5 million. He said something I believe. He said, if all of us do a little, nobody has to do a lot. If all of us do a little, none of us have to do a lot. If you ain't got $10, I don't believe you. I do not believe, and I'm not counting nobody's pockets now. But if somebody goes, hey, man, you ain't got $10, no, this comes down to who's benefiting from it. If you don't like who's benefiting from it, but you want to win, all right. If we go 8-5 with a little bit, what you think we can go with? People say, Ben, the money don't make the difference. Ask Ohio State. Ask Michigan if it don't make the difference.
I hear you. All right. Good stuff. And by the way, does Killer Mike have a weather page? He has Mike's weather page. Is that, no. Different guy. I'm sorry.
Not the same guy at all, but Mike's weather page is pretty good if you got a hurricane.
Oh, he is.
Right, Laurie,
no doubt. That guy is. Yeah. I got to ask my wife. I said, are you watching this guy because of the weather, or because you've been watching him a little bit too much for me? Man, he is good at what he does.
He knows stuff. Sorry. So Lauren, Ben said, go ahead and enjoy it now. You can breathe, Lauren. You above all. More than any of us did. So now go ahead and bare your soul. You got 2 full minutes to go ahead and say, write it up right now. You want to say national champion? What?
No. But he outkicked what I predicted, which was I had him winning 7 in the regular season, 8 with a bowl win. So no, I think that what I'll say is, talking to some of the people on the staff and even some of the players over the past couple of weeks, they're very excited about this roster and what this roster is. And while everybody reacts to some of the defections in the transfer portal, some of that was built on the fact that some guys saw the writing on the wall. And as one staffer said to me, these young boys are coming. And in particular, guys like Miles Graham, Aaron Childs, LJ McCray, where the heat is so much that they're not going to be able to keep these young boys down. And like I was talking to the Ocala Quarterback Club last night, Florida was the only crew to have 3 5-star receivers in the recruiting class. It is improving. And, I've been as hard as anybody on Coach Napier and some of the things that he's been doing. But I will say this, as a coach, you get to improve, you get to change, you get to adjust, and you get to see the landscape and then move from there. That's part of coaching. So I know a lot of people will hang on to last year's Utah game and even this year's Miami game. But the beauty of it is, they were historically bad on defense the last 2 years, but finished in the top 10 in sacks. That's a fact. And anybody that likes football, you got to look at that, like Ben said, and say, wow, if they can continue to play defense like that, the beginning of the season will allow some of those young kids with LIU and South Florida to get acclimated. And I mean, when you got a quarterback, man, you got a lot. And that's where I think that through all this talk, I mean, and Buddy, you called it from day one. He is a special talent and somebody that carries himself well, that guys want to follow, and he raises the level of play of everybody. So, I mean, just looking at it from a football space, I'm not ready to apologize just yet, but I will on Buddy Martin's show when the time comes. But I agree with Ben. But I agree things are they are. I mean, Mike Peterson, 14-year-old vet, 14-year NFL, when he talks about his guys, he has a smile that you like to see from a coach, because that means he got some dogs and he can't wait to sick them. So,
let's give Freddie the last word. We're going to take the weekend off, and first week we're going to have football. We're going to have the NFL. Freddie, a great job of summing it up. Give us something to go to bed on and hope on, and about the future of Gator football, Freddie.
I will, but I really want to highlight, if I can, basketball. Men's basketball is on fire. The game last night was amazing. The ending, the don't quit, don't give up, win the game. I don't care how ugly it was. A win is a win. And, if we look down the road in April, this is the game we look back, and if we celebrate, this is the game that matters. The other component is women's basketball. They're trying hard. It's a challenge financially, but they're trying to win, and it's amazing to see within that team. And speaking of women's basketball, I have to bring this up. We're hosting a fundraiser dinner, an aisle dinner on Tuesday, and this is kind of cool, actually. Lauren is a sponsor of the dinner, and we're raising money for the athletes, the women's team. Both of your sponsors, Buddy, are sponsoring the dinner. Meldon Law and Titan MRI, along with 3 others. And we're all collecting money from each and giving them to the athletes through a dinner at Spurrier's. And these are the creative ways we all have to do to create money. $10 and $20. These are the things businesses, Mississippi and Ole Miss, what happened. These are the things that are happening out there. We're not creating new things. We're just copying things that people are doing. At the end is how much money does a coach have to retain their good talent and bring new talent. As far as football, it's going to be great.
I hear you on the basketball. The only reason we talked about it for 15 minutes before you came on about that incredible win last night in Columbia. You're absolutely right. It's one of the most amazing Gator basketball games I have ever seen. And boy, it's going to be fun to follow that team. But Freddie, look us in the eye and tell us hope is on the way and Gator football is back.
Gator football will be back. You're talking to, I'm biased. I'm very bullish. I love data, and that all the data indicates a bright future. I'm not talking just talent. I see these athletes. They come to Spurrier's almost every night to eat. As I left the restaurant tonight, in one of our rooms were 3 athletes. They're not football, but they're good athletes having dinner. Elijah Martin, Walt Clayton, and Richards. They're coming to have a good meal, eat healthy food.
We'll buy them a dinner just for last night.
There you go. But truly, I see character. I see, thank you, sir. I see them taking good care of the servers. I see communication. I see clarity. I see people that are good, just good people you want to be around. And outside talent, that sometimes wins too. We forget that piece of the game. Billy Napier has done a good job attracting good character and good talent. And together, I'm very bullish on the future.
Very well said. Gentlemen, you all were great tonight. Thank you so much, Freddie, for all that good upbeat stuff. And Ben, good to see you again. And Lauren, there's room on board the choo-choo train. You can jump on there anytime you want.
I'm coming. You know, I'm a purist, man. I love the game of football and been around it. But like you said, I mean, just really happy to see you up on your feet too, buddy, man. You know, I care about you. And
be on my feet again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you back. You look like a strapping young lad again.
That's
the buddy I know.
I'm about to say, Buddy is the real life character on the movie Up. That is Buddy. If you ever see the movie Up, that is Buddy on there. That is Buddy.
All right, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Good seeing you guys.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you. All right, folks. That's going to wrap up the show for the night. And what a good show it was. Thanks to Franz Beard earlier being on the program. And Freddie Weeby, he does a whole lot for this community, I'll tell you what. And, of course, love having Ben and Lauren and the team on. All right, so I want to say something that's special about some people I care about a lot. That's the folks at Rinstar Medical Research. They're doing it right. They have been doing it right for a long time. In addition to being a wonderful organization that does a lot of stuff for us, they also are big Gator fans as well. I've told this story 1,000 times. It matters to me because these people are committed to the University of Florida. Mary Brantley is such a special person, married to Scott, and her partner, Joe Sorrentino, they went to high school together. They started this business back in the day, and now they've kept it going all this time. And they're very, very interested in you, your health. They want you to know it's important to them, for you, if you can, to join up, to do some of these clinical trials at Rinstar and help yourself know more about your own health, help the community know more about their health. And if you need to know more about what's going on, the best way to do is go to their site on rinstar.net, see what trials they got coming up, see if you'd like to join them. If you qualify, you'll get time and travel compensation for that. And that information and data goes off to a place that can help us in the future when dealing with the issues of our health. It's Rinstar Medical Research. Seeking tomorrow's answer to the health question of today. I want to mention also Joe Sorrentino's son, Joey, a former defensive walk-on for Florida, Urban Meyer. Dr. Joey is a dentist in Ocala. They're in Marion Dental and also in Lady Lake. And he does some wonderful work. I'll be seeing him again soon. He's a really nice practicer. I encourage you to check out him if you need dentists. Rinstar Medical Research, Superior Medical Research Facility, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. All right, folks. Appreciate you. See you on Monday. Have a good weekend, and we will be back here on Monday doing the thing that we do most, which is talking about Gator sports right here on this program.